So we have a shape here. We have 5 squares, and we know that the area of all of those 5 squares equals 320 centimeters squared. And they'd like us to work out what the perimeter of this shape is going to be. Well, in order to work out the perimeter, we first have to work out the length of the sides of one of the squares. How can we do that? Well, we first work out the area of one of the squares. If the area of all 5 is 320, the area of one of the squares will be area of all squares divided by the number of squares, which is 320 divided by 5. This will give us the area of one of the squares. 5s into 30, 2 goes 6 times and 2 left over. And 5s into 20 go 4 times. So the area of one square, we now know, is 64 centimeters squared. And this is one of those numbers that you have to know. What two numbers multiplied together give you 64? We know that 1 squared is 1 times 1, and that equals 1. And we know that 2 squared is 2 times 2, and that equals 4. 3 squared is 3 times 3, it equals 9. You've got to know all of these numbers sort of in your heads off by heart. You should know that 4 squared is 16, 5 squared is 25, 6 squared is 36, 7 squared is 49, 8 squared is 64, 9 squared is 81, 10 squared is 100, 11 squared is 121, 12 squares is 144, 13 squared is 169, 15 squared is 225, and 20 squared is 400. So these ones you should sort of know off by heart. So when we see that the area of the square is 64, we know that A multiplied by A equals 64. So A squared is 64. A will be the square root of 64. So what we're trying to find out is what two numbers multiplied by each other give us 64, and that should jump out at us at 8 squared. So we know that 64 is the same as 8 squared. The square root of 8 squared is 8. So we know that the length of this square is now 8 centimeters. To work out the perimeter of our shape, we have to count how many lengths, and the perimeter means only the outside. So we're ignoring these lines here in the middle. And we have to think, how many lengths do we have around the outside of our square? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 2, 5 up here and 5 down here, plus 1 at each end. So 1 times 2. Multiplied by the length of each of those, which is 8 centimeters. So we have 10 plus 2 is 12. So we get 8 times 12. We've got 12 sides at 8 centimeters each. 8 2s are 16. 8 1s are 8 plus 1, 9. 96 centimeters. So the perimeter of this shape would be 96 centimeters. First working out the area of one square, then taking the square root of that area to get the dimension of the length of one of the sides of squares, and then working out how many sides of the square we have for our perimeter.